Hi, and welcome to VETV, and with me today is a good man and a good friend, Charlie Pugh from the Georgia Department of Labor. Charlie does a great job helping veterans every day of the year, really. Charlie, it's great to be with you today.
Well, wonderful, and thank you for having me, Lynn. We've been friends for a minute. You know, I remember when I first came aboard with you guys about maybe 4 years ago.
Right.
And the wonderful thing that you're doing, man, I mean, it's truly amazing. I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, thank you. As we're here together today, I guess part of our reflection is going to be on what can we help veterans that are out there, and what do their families not know that they might need to know about what you can help do and what the state of Georgia is able to do. So starting with maybe a basic question, if you look at what people expect if they're looking for work, what's the Georgia Department of Labor's opportunity to help a veteran?
Okay, well, first of all, let me tell you what my title curtails.
Sure.
I'm the local Veterans Employment Representative, and my job is to go out and talk to employers and tell them the importance of hiring veterans. I also have two other personnel that work along with me. That's the Disabled Veterans Outreach Program, and they work with veterans that have barriers to employment. And so by my, going out talking to employers, and telling them the importance of hiring veterans, and I take the back to them, and we get together maybe once a week, and we find out what veterans the kind of work that veterans are looking for. We try to instill in them to do what they call transitional skills, the skills that they had in the military to bring it to the civilian sector.
And, a lot of people are out there today, they may have a job, but they may not be totally happy with it. How and what can be done to help them build their long-term career?
Well, one thing is, first of all, each Georgia Department of Labor has a veterans unit. And we have, we make sure that we find out, first of all, what they want to do. I'm going to tell you a little story. I had a veteran, one thing that I talked to my vets about is, I said, well, what would you like to do? And they're caught up like a deer in a headlight. And they said, well, I never really thought about it, So you really want, one thing that I tell them, I wanted a job where I can wake up in the morning and say, I'm ready to go to work. That's the type of job that you want, what you would be happy doing. And so we have different job listings. We have counselors there at the Georgia Department of Labor to sit down and to dissect what that veteran is looking for.
And, a lot of people, I think, today are wondering, is there any evolution in what veterans either are good at, or just like our next generation, right? I think that people remember baby boomers a certain way, and then Generation X, and you keep going forward. And I've heard things about, the current generation that's a little different in how they approach work, whether they want to be on the location or whether they really want to work in one job for 30 years or one job for 2 or 3 years and then become an entrepreneur. Do you have a sense of the changing workforce and how those veterans that are in the next generation, how they might be different from previous generations?
Absolutely. Well, the IT field.
Okay.
The IT field is booming now. I remember as a kid, when, we got out of school, we'd run outside and we'd play. But now the young people are just going in the house, getting on these computers, And the computer age, I believe, has really kind of like stunted a lot of growth, not only physical but mental growth. And we try, and in the military, you harbor on staying fit, doing things, and the computer age has kind of toned things down, but then again, that's the world that we live in.
Well, it's interesting because as all of us are on the computer all the time, right? We all experience this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I guess the question is, again, it sort of reminds me of when USA Today first became very popular. People began to see journalism differently.
Yes.
And how much could people absorb, and how much would they really want to read? Would it be a paragraph versus, the longer articles in the previous generation, when there was a major event, people would have a long article or a long television broadcast. Now it's like short snippets.
Absolutely.
So do you have a sense of maybe the difference in employers and how they're looking at people differently today?
Oh, absolutely. One of the main problems that we are having is military personnel with records. if you have a bad background. And that's a program that's out there. It's been out since 1966. It's called the Federal Bonding Program, Top Step. Give you an idea of how that works. Say, for instance, the reason employers don't hire people with records is not because of what they did. It's insurance purposes. I'll give you an idea. I have a record, you don't have one. The insurance company will tell the employer, well, Mr. Pugh has a record, and we're going to charge $100 for him. But Lynn, you don't have one. We're going to charge $5 for Lynn. Gotcha. Who would you hire? So what the federal bonding program does is the federal government will step in and pay that $95 so I would be on the even keel with you. Now, it's a win-win situation because if the employer see that that veteran is going to do a good job and make money for that company and decides to hire him, he's eligible for a $9,600 tax credit. So it's a win-win situation.
That's pretty special.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you shared that because I think a lot of people, starting with me, don't know that. So that's good to know.
And the amazing thing about it, Lynn, this program has been out since 1966.
That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
51 years? That's amazing. Well, I think there's a lot probably out there, right, Charlie, that average person, even employers who are well educated may not know all these different things, or if they don't have a large staff. I guess the other question would be for a small business, is this more difficult for you because they don't have the resources to know so much?
Well, that's part of my job, to educate them to that. And you can always go on our website, www.gdol.ga.gov, and you can find all those things right there on that website. And I would like to commend our commissioner, Commissioner Mark Butler. He's really, this is one of his pet peeves, is to get jobs for our veterans.
Well, it's great to hear that because all of us want to help veterans, and certainly nothing's more important than employment. It really helps in so many areas of our lives. If you were to say, where in the next year do you see things moving? Are there any new trends in helping veterans or new ideas that maybe aren't quite out there yet?
Absolutely. Well, another funny story. I had spoke at a conference one time, and I said, when the economy was really doing bad, what could you physically see in your day-to-day life traveling? And what you see now that shows you that the economy's growing? I'm going to ask you that.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'll say that I think of retail as being back up again.
You're on point. I remember when the economy was at its lowest point, I could go to work, and every once in a while a tractor trailer would go by. Now, your tractor trailers are everywhere. And what do trucks do? Move goods.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's good.
Absolutely.
So there are more jobs in trucking, I would guess.
No. At that too. But, they're transporting goods.
Right.
And that's letting you know that the economy is really doing good now.
That's good to think about. Well, so going forward, if the economy keeps getting better, will that mean that salaries and the starting positions are going to have a higher level of compensation?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I had two employers to come to my office about a month and a half ago, two months ago. Delta Global contacted me, and the company that had the contract, ADM, had lost the contract, and Delta Global took over. And that's aircraft fuelers and, wheelchair personnel. And they came to our office and for 2 days, and the personnel that was with ADM, if they wanted to come over to Delta Global, they had to go through the whole application process and what have you. And they hired over 200 people. Now, Delta Global is adding more people on. UPS, they're building a state-of-the-art new facility on the south side, and they're hiring a lot of people. As a matter of fact, next Friday they'll be at our office and doing a big hire process there.
That's great.
So you got companies like Delta Global, UPS, and the economy is looking well. Jobs look good, and like I said, every DOL in the state of Georgia have vet representatives. and would be more than happy to help them. And another good thing about our leavers, local veterans employment representatives, we communicate with each other. And if a job is on the south side and I run into an employer that's in my area that has a company on the south side, I would contact that leaver there and vice versa.
That's great to know. Well, it's wonderful to hear both the economy doing better means there are more jobs out there and better paying, and that things are there as far as the Department of Labor to help veterans. So
Absolutely.
if the folks listening and watching this haven't known this before, now they do.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you again, Charlie, for being with us
The
today.
pleasure is all mine, and thank you for having me, Lynn.
We'll look forward. We'll have him back again soon.